Transphobes beware, you're in for a scare. Book 2 is, unapologetically, about a trans person getting mad at the world for always messing with them, and I would say it's pretty good for visibility's sake. I have an immediate gripe with this book. I think they should have just let Lake be called he or they. Infinity Train was released in August of 2019, and Steven Universe, the show with gay rocks, concluded in January of that same year. Book 2 came out in 2021, a full 2 years after the gay wedding. So there's an argument to be made that they could have had something as simple as a pronoun change happen in this season, especially since it's already dripping with trans metaphors and allegories.
Don't look at me! I am a person! I deserve a number!
But to be fair, Steven Universe had Reunion in its 5th season, well after everyone loved it, and was somehow more and less direct with its LGBT themes, and Infinity Train was only that 2nd thing, so. Look, bottom line is, the show would have been a lot better if Lake wasn't called she through its entirety. Whoever's fault this is, I hope they get a thumbs down, a disapproving stare, and 30 lashes if it's Cartoon Network. Anyway, Book 2 starts with Lake, who doesn't have a name yet, surrounded by knocked out gremlins. They revamp their whole look, and we get a scene of them just being. It's a far cry from Book 1's intro, but that isn't necessarily a bad thing. This one is a lot more chill, less of a speed run to establish everything, and more of a wordless showcase. Because I'm writing, and all writers have to be somewhat pretentious when they write, I think this is an allegory for a trans person coming out and enjoying themselves after breaking free from the shackles of gender essentialism. First, romp and jeans for this little mask. We see Lake see a lunch lady seeing One talk about the purpose of the train. In case you forgot, and he's still just grand.
Remember, you can't spell escape without companionship. Companionship? Companionscape.
Then we see them enter the Black Market car, which, despite being the name of the episode, only has about 2 minutes of screen time, and most of it is spent watching Lake escape the police because they just can't let a minority stay alive for even a second. Really gotta stomp out that 1% of the population like it's a cigarette butt in a nursing home. Deer thing saves them, and they go right back to being. And the deer, wordlessly, gets them to open up. Something kind of interesting here, I think Lake is role-playing what it means to be a #strong, independent adult in the world. Completely alone, no restrictions, nothing holding you back, no one getting in your way, a grand old time. I am a rock, I am an island, and I will stay that way forever. Which is why they soften up after Alan Dracula is like, hey, you want to exist at the same time in the same place for a little bit? We get a little more exposition, and again, some more scenes of them just existing. Goddamn, I'm realizing just how much time in this episode is spent on doing nothing. To be clear, I don't mean that the episode is a nothing burger, I'm just saying that a lot of time is spent watching Lake do absolutely nothing. Because, yeah, that's what people do. That's what you do. You probably did nothing before you watched this video, and you'll probably do nothing after. I know this because I've secretly been recording it for the past 8 months, check your smoke alarm. But anyway, doing jack shit is fun. It's important for your health. Go do a knot. Lake falls asleep and wakes up to see some fuck-ass putting glasses on the deer, and immediately comes up and gets mad. This is an overreaction, but I can understand it. This is like, what, their first time existing as an individual free from the shackles of the lockstep they used to be in? Someone forcing someone else to do something, whether they want to or not, is kind of one of their triggers. Alan Dracula falls through the leaves, leading them both down the family tree. I feel like this episode mostly focuses on Jessie instead of Lake. See, the Trundleshanks and the Gillicuddies are really confrontational to one another, which plays with one aspect of Jessie's core issue, that being a people pleaser. There are some people in life who you just cannot please. They will always be angry, always be bitter, always be on the attack, and never agree to compromise. You might recognize these kinds of people. Their names are your extended family at Thanksgiving. Jesse even states later in the episode that he doesn't want anyone to be mad at him, and his number goes up as a result. Lake tries to tell him that they're too stubborn to listen, and it's about here when I noticed that Lake is exactly what Jesse needed. Someone who was initially not happy with him at all, provided hard truths he had to digest, and agreed to help him get over his people-pleaser ways. But that doesn't make Lake the king of having their head on straight. His offense keeps making things worse and worse and worse because of how the tree works. So they both have to take a page out of each other's books to get to the bottom. Stop trying to make everyone happy, and stop being standoffish with everything that moves. Don't try to fight fire with fire, because all that does is make more fire. The map car sees Jesse and Lake inside a giant map, and this is where the threat of Lake being discounted in favor of Jesse begins to take shape.
I'm so sorry, but there can only be one explorer. I don't make the rules. You can tag along if you'd like.
Lake mocks Jesse's swimming technique, and they get to talking about his sports life. He talks about how he'd been letting the team dictate what exactly he would do for them, and Lake asks him a very important question.
Don't you care about doing what you want to do?
He says yes at first, because that's how you're supposed to answer, but then he really considers it for a moment.
I'd love to swim freestyle sometime. Nate once asked why I liked it so much, and I think it's because there's something, I don't know, just something about how simple it is.
His number goes down a bit, and they decide to leave. Unfortunately, Marcel wants them to keep being colonizers, so he keeps them trapped. And he gets really on the nose with how the train perceives these two.
One person guides, one person follows. It's a system. It's great. Let it be great.
They fix the map, and oh shit, it's the cops.
This is under police. This is under police.
And being a law-abiding good boy, Jessie is more inclined to believe them than he is Lake. And like cops do, they lie and lie and lie some more to convince Jessie that he shouldn't trust Lake. It's actually kind of interesting how this happens. Steve takes advantage of the fact that Jessie is rattled and panicking to offer him some kind words. He asks for his name and then immediately uses it to imply a more personal connection. And then he introduces himself as a peace officer, despite the fact that both of them were brandishing sanding devices against the person who was made entirely of metal. He paints Lake as a
dangerous extremist from our mirror world. She'll say anything to get what she wants. She did it to her prime, and she'll do it to you too.
and uses the fact that he doesn't know anything about the mirror world to turn him against Lake. And it works, unfortunately. They argue, the Toad asks for no one to kick him, and the theme of the episode quickly reveals itself to be peer pressure. This is elaborated on by showcasing the moment that got Jessie on the train in the first place. In his desperation to make people happy, and to have people like him, he ended up hurting his little brother. The core lesson Jessie needs to, and ends up learning here, is that having everyone like you isn't all it's cracked up to be. You can't please everyone. That's impossible, and oftentimes you shouldn't. The ability to please everyone can't really exist because you can't make someone like a bully happy without making their victim sad. You gotta ask yourself, do I really want everyone to like me? I feel like being in the good graces of people who laugh at you for failing a man test and breaking your arm is more of a negative statement on you, if anything. Steve comes back spewing his bullshit, and crossed between wanting to follow the law and his own empathetic nature, he asks if they'll hurt Lake. All things considered, Lake has helped them get their number down bit by bit. They made him think about things he hadn't given proper attention. Even if they're abrasive about it, they've been good to him. And even though Lake doesn't really owe Jessie an explanation for why the cops are after them, that's not really how friendship works. And by this point, Jessie has wormed his way into their heart, so they let loose. They tell him everything.
It's true. What those flecks said. Technically, I am a criminal, but I didn't do anything wrong. Remember that friend I told you about? Tulip? I used to reflect her, but I wanted to live my own life, make my own memories. That's against mirror law, and those flecks have been chasing me ever since.
And after this little heart-to-heart, they get right back to being besties, and oh, fuck, it's the cops! Luckily, they kick that Toad from earlier and take him with them. Oh god, they're trapped forever now. Lol. Lamau, even. The Parasite car is just fucking delightful. It feels like an episode of a larger show about teaching people lessons, which I guess Infinity Train technically is. By this point, Jessie's taken Lake's advice to heart, but still tries to see the good in people. And Lake is less misanthropic and a bit more open to new friendships. They aren't as gung-ho about it as Jessie, and they're still suspicious, but they aren't as violently against it as they would have been a couple of days ago. And in regards to Perry, so long as Alan Dracula's fine, they're okay with this. Alan Dracula is not fine. Anyway, before that happens, oh hi RuPaul, what are you doing here? God, this part of the show is so good. Book 2 is great. Look at that one guy, he's literally a tie. But anyway, by this point they've noticed that Alan Dracula absolutely does not want this thing inside his body. The trial friend period is over. Perry has shown himself to be a parasite and needs to go. You know, I'm glad they're both applying the lessons they learned from one another, and I'm happy that Jessie is past the point of trying to make everyone happy. Like I said before, you shouldn't try to do that. It applies to more than just bullies. Perry was trying to manipulate his way into a new host body, and you shouldn't be kind to someone like that when he shows you his true colors. Anyway, in the Lucky Cat car, we see...
Hello, dearies.
I love her so much! Not just because the cat's here, but the whole Lucky Cat Carnival is just beautiful. I haven't touched on it much, but the art direction for Book 2 is absolutely gorgeous. It's fun, it's imaginative, the fact that they're all basically paintings is a massive plus, and the Lucky Cat car is especially notable because it serves as a sort of hub. I get the sense that it could very well be a train-wide event. I mean, look around you, we have Randall, we have that one crystal guy, we have Khaki Bottoms, the cat. The only original denizens we see here are these raccoon dudes. I can see why this car was the poster art for this book. As Jessie and Lake try to win the exit door, Lake is hit with yet another roadblock. Passengers take priority. This whole time, they've been told by everyone and everything around them that they're inherently less than human, that they don't deserve the same rights, opportunities, care, or advantages that other passengers do, because they are a denizen. And more than that, they are a reflection. The existence that's been cut out for them is to serve, and if they choose to do anything other than that, they deserve death. And this isn't their breaking point. That comes later, but something does get them out of this funk.
And who cares about them? Once my number gets to 0, we're all leaving anyway.
What?
What?
I didn't think... You want us to come with you? You want me to come with you?
Yeah, you're my friend. I'm not gonna leave you here with the flex chasing after you.
Despite everything they've gone through, despite every hurdle, every roadblock, every wall, gate they've had to take down with furious anger, there has been one golden pillar of security that they are incredibly lucky to have. Jessie. And he says it so matter-of-factly that it's genuinely surprising to Lake. And in verbalizing this, Jessie's number goes down. Because when you have good friends like Lake, you don't leave them. They're a far cry from the people who Jessie used to hang out with. And while they were bossy for like a day or two, that's changed. For the brunt of the time he's known them, Lake has put an emphasis on Jessie fixing his issues, doing what he wants to do, and being cautious of new people. So yeah, Jessie wants to take them with him. They're probably one of the best friends he's ever had. And Lake wants to go too. A few episodes ago, a blatant statement like, "You're coming with me," would have sent them into a rage, but they aren't angry on principle like that anymore, because Jessie has also made them better. It's hard to see it without a literal number to tell you how well they're doing, but Lake has, indeed, been going through their own character development. There's a time and a place to be aggro, and that time and place isn't with Jessie right now, because he's safe, and he cares. After they win some more games and get Alan Dracula out of a crane game, ah shit, it's anarchism! This is Grace. She's great, but she's also racist. And if that wasn't already a big enough red flag, her number is all the way up to her elbow. If numbers go down when problems get solved, it can be assumed that numbers can only ever get that high if someone's problem has gotten so bad it's arguable whether or not it can be fixed at all. We saw that same thing with Amelia, and we see that she's barely made a dent in her number since the time she met Tulip, and Grace seems to have misunderstood the purpose of the train. She does something here that's actually pretty interesting. She talks very passionately about the train, positions herself as the highest authority who does nothing but love and care for her subordinates.
For some reason, this fake little robot wants to get rid of all of us. It wants to kick us humans off our rightful train. This was the conductor. This is real. I'm real. And because I have the highest number, it's my responsibility to correct that robot's lies. Because I care about people. I care about you, Jessie.
And to Jessie, this all sounds great. However, Simon and the rest of the Apex show their true colors when Jessie leaves. When Grace and Jessie are alone, she shows off even more of her manipulation skills, presenting a caring front, acting silly and flippant when in reality she's very intentionally convincing him of her trustworthiness. She's already put herself at an advantage by talking about how different Lake is from Jessie.
She seems nice, but she's a little bit different from us, huh? I mean, she doesn't even have a number. Humans get numbers and nulls just tag along. She's not bad, she's just not like us.
When you're the only one in the space who looks like you, you'll be relieved to see someone else who looks the same. I won't delve too deep into how the Apex works, but I will say that I think people like Jessie, people who like making people happy, and people who have a history of people-pleasing, people who don't want to spoil the tea, so to speak, are incredibly susceptible to this kind of manipulation. I'm your friend, I care about you, we're all we've got, you don't need any null problems. All I want is to keep you safe. Don't you trust me? And Jessie does sort of trust her. This is something that can happen when you do all of this shit. When you hit someone hard and fast with all these things they haven't even considered, and then you get them to trust you. So he's willing to test out her worldview, and in doing so, he... feels terrible. She assures him that there will be a next time, and it will be better. And they come back to an attempted murder.
She was trying to trick you, so we're gonna wheel her.
What?
Jessie puts a lot of the pieces together in this moment. They don't respect the train. They don't think denizens are real. They think the train is rightfully theirs. They keep repeating that his friends are no, they're nothing. They only exist to serve you. And they say, we care a lot about you, Jessie. We care a lot about you. And the Apex does care about humans. Everything else, however, is expendable. This is the final test for Jessie. The ultimate peer pressure. Join our community. Have fun with us. Let us kill your friends. You want to be one of us, right?
Don't tell me what to do. I'm not going to be a part of anything like this, on or off the train. I'm done with you. And anyone else like you.
After Jessie saves them, Grace, being an eternal opportunist, uses Jessie's words said in confidence against him. This fucking bitch! Being committed to never leaving Lake in the dust, Jessie's exit opens. And when they try to take it... I think it's time to talk a bit more about Lake. This whole time, they've been dealing with the train's bullshit, and this moment here takes the cake. They can't even win when they win, because the train only sees them as a denizen. It's one thing for society to refuse to see you as what you say you are, but it's another thing entirely for this big, impossible matrix, which controls the entire dimension to deny you your right to agency. This is kind of why I say Lake is a trans allegory. They get pushed aside whenever both they and Jessie have to do something. A community of people who are more like Jessie than they will ever be spit on their very personhood, coming Coming up, the conductor of the train rather matter-of-factly states that they can't ever leave because they're so good at being a tool. They can't get a number, which is something only humans have. People keep inventing new insults specifically to use against them. There's always more and more rules and regulations that desperately try to keep them from existing for literally no reason, and the actual literal fucking police are trying to kill them for daring to not wear the face, hair, clothes, body, and identity of a cis girl. And to top it all off, the first guy to ever validate them is now gone. Before, all they wanted was to be alone. Misanthropy was keeping them safe. However, they found out that individuality doesn't necessarily die the moment you make a new friend. You can still be you with them. And they were. And now they can't. And you know, if I were Lake at this point in time, I would swear that the universe itself was conspiring against me. And it very well may be.
I know what God really wants, damn it. He wants me to kill my motherfucking self. That's why he fucks with me. That's why he gave me a fucked up ass life. But the joke's on him. I ain't gonna give that motherfucker the satisfaction.
What follows is the worst 15 minutes of Lake's entire life. They get stuck with Mace and try and go out into the wasteland while he just keeps talking and talking and talking.
I'd even say you became his counterpart. Might say you became kind of a reflection.
Shut up!
It's been a big thing with Lake this whole time. Keep going, going, and going, and going. Where? Does not matter. And this is a small piece of Lake's defining motivation, that being their persistent force of will. Think about it. This whole time they've had the drive to keep going. Get out of the mirror world, explore the train, reinvent your whole identity, and what is it all for? Safety. Happiness. And no matter what gets thrown at them, no matter how bad it gets, despite everything, they will fight. And absolutely nothing can stop them. And I do mean nothing. Yeah, I can't make a book 2 video without talking about that major surprise to literally everyone. Lake just fucking murders, well, it was self-defense, kills Mace in cold blood. And I feel like it's especially poignant that the last thing he ever saw was the face of someone who represented everything he had been taught to loathe. And though they are angry and hateful toward Mace, Lake didn't want to have to do this. They didn't want to have to put him down. They didn't want to watch the life leave his eyes. But their back was against the wall. The whole system that brought them both here in the first place could have chosen to be different. Absolutely none of this was necessary. But it happened. Lake deserved to live, and Mace forced their hand. The current plan now is to wait for a pod to take Lake to get a number. This is not the most thought out plan, and they know it, but hey, they've worked their way through everything else, they can work their way through this too. After terrorizing the elderly, they make their way to the tape car. Attempting to steal a number grants Lake nothing. Yet again, the train is favoring everyone else but denizens. Everyone else but them. And by this point, they've had it. The cage of their life has been rattled too much. They've been fighting off death this entire time. The one person to ever give them the time of day is gone now, and their attempts at ever being with them again have been thwarted. People on the train get numbers because they have to work through their issues. So Lake not being given one basically tells them that their problems don't matter, that everything they've gone through, everything they've faced, every hurdle, roadblock, and stop sign that they've had to claw their way through doesn't matter in the slightest. And to rub sugar in the wound and leave them for the ants, someone who's sad about their dead lizard gets priority over someone who had to fight for their right to exist at all. So yeah, they start fucking breaking everything. You know the saying, the child who is not embraced by the village will burn it down to feel its warmth? That's comparable to what's happening here. The passenger, who isn't cared for by the train, will smash it to pieces to find their exit. And right as the breakdown leads them to destroy the number maker, the main thing denying them their freedom, 1-1 stops them. Well, this is a fine mode of mood whiplash. We get an incredibly felt mental breakdown followed by Wheatley coming down and saying hi. Wheatley, 1-1, tells them with not that much understanding that they kinda have to stay here because they're really good at helping people. Honestly, this might be worse than the complete lack of care we just saw. Stay in hell forever because you're good at leading people down the lake, lol, a fire. They discover that Jessie is on the train yet again and needs to get Lake off. Yeah, I don't know how that works with the train's whole thing of inner problems being solved, but I do find it sort of funny and maybe powerful depending on how you look at it, that Jessie effectively willed himself back onto the train. And seeing them back together is so fucking cathartic, oh my god.
I thought you were gone and I fought the flesh and I jumped in a pond and found you in a head farm and I watched your memories. Oh, sorry about that. I'm so happy you're back.
I feel like it's a testament to Jesse's growth that the first thing he does when he sees Nate again is apologize. Jesse's problem can only be solved by getting Lake off, but that's impossible. So it's sort of a paradox. The train blue screens and oh god damn it, who called the cops again? Right now the train is falling apart because the system in place doesn't provide Lake with any possible exit. There's basically no hope of getting this done the right way. There's no way 1-1 will let Lake out because in his eyes, they aren't a person and non-people can't leave. So Lake just lies.
1-1, look! I have a number! So
you can give me an exit. That's how it works, right?
Yeah, they just steal Jessie's social security number to leave. And honestly, a system like this deserves to get tricked. And like deserve their happiness any way they could get it. Also, Steve gets killed by Alan Dracula. Not sorry to say it, bro, but you deserve that shit. Maybe don't try to murder people next time. Not gonna lie, I felt like this ending kinda just happened. But if we look at what this is probably a metaphor for, that being the idea that you can't ever win in a system that's designed for you to lose, I think this ending is actually pretty okay. A lot of the stuff Lake does would be immoral under good circumstances, but these aren't good circumstances. These are piss poor circumstances. So yeah, if this is what you have to do to just live your fucking life, then okay. It didn't have to be this way. It never had to be this way, but it was. And Lake's journey is the end result of that. This whole time, I've been calling them by their preferred name, Lake, but throughout the show, they haven't had a name at all. They went by MT because it was a way for people to address them and nothing more. They were so distrustful of people that they didn't even bother naming themselves, because what reason would anyone need to address them? But now that they're out, now that they're truly free, and now that they have someone who's worth addressing, and being addressed back, they choose Lake. I think this is a subtle form of reclamation on their part. This is the first time they've been able to look at a reflective surface without almost dying, and it feels good. They can finally do what they've always wanted. No strings, caveats, or drawbacks. Live and be free. Thank you for making it to the end of the video. If you liked it, tell me why. And if you didn't, also tell me why. If you really liked my work, please consider donating to my Patreon or my Ko-fi. I'm Crab, and thank you for watching.